Hi there and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, a big welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. In this process video, I'll be working with the Snowy Scenes Designer Series paper to create a double page layout. I've flipped over the papers so you can see the B-sides. There's a snowy scene with green snowflakes, snow globes, and soft pink plaid with a playful snowman design on the other side. More snowy scenes, but in shades of pink, even more snow globes, mini trees in those same soft pink tones, and there's a penguin winter scene, plus classic red and green striped pattern paper with a holly design on the reverse for a more traditional look. You'll also find mini candy canes and cute little houses. The best part of this suite is the stamp and die set. The dies cut out the snow globes, snowman, and penguins perfectly. Let me just find the paper that I'm looking for here. Where's that snow globe paper? Not this one. The bigger snow globes. Where did I leave that? There it is. Okay, this one. The die cuts cut out this globe as well as the other globe perfectly. You do lose a small amount of the top of the taller snow globe, but it doesn't take away from the design. Now let's talk about the snowman. This die cut is so cute. It does fit this snowman image on the pattern paper perfectly. It will die cut out any snowman without a hat. Then we have a die cut also for these penguins. Same kind of thing as the snowman. As long as it's not wearing a hat, you can cut that out. Look at how cute that is. The penguins themselves are so adorable and add a playful touch to any holiday project. And the stamps include lovely sentiments and possibly titles. Plus, I adore this little house image. Definitely perfect for those gingerbread house layouts. Plus, there's some gorgeous ribbon and tiny snowflakes, perfect for shaker cards or embellishments. This suite is available for a limited time as it's in our mini September to December catalog. And I'll link that below for you to check out if you would like. These are the photos I'm documenting today, taken on Christmas 2021. In the pictures, we're wearing lots of green. I also decorated the house with red, black, and white buffalo check. As I was flipping through this paper collection, these two pattern papers immediately stood out to me. They are the perfect match for my photos, complementing them perfectly. The first pattern adds some warmth, while the second brings a playful touch, helping the pictures really stand out. I grabbed the Peaceful Season stamp and die set, thinking I might use it for some title or sentiments on the page. From my stash, I have the Poinsettia Petals stamp and die set, and I plan to cut out a few poinsettias for my clusters. You can stamp and emboss the petals and leaves with 3 different sizes to create a beautiful dimensional flower. I have a couple of stamp sets from close to my heart that I've had in my stash for a while. I might incorporate on this layout. They have a couple of great title and sentiment options. It's always nice to have some choices. We're off to a great start in making our layout merry and bright. Let me clear this away so we can get started on crafting. Starting with basic white cardstock as my base, here's the layout design I'm envisioning. This has been inspired by one of the creative design team's sketches. I plan to use the striped paper in 4-inch strips along each side of the page. Then place the holly paper along the bottom. Let me rearrange things a bit so you can get a better idea of the layout. Yeah, this is much better. Now I'll position my photos where I think they'll look best. My focal photo measures 6 3/4 by 5 with the white border, and it's going to go on the left-hand side here. There's a nice big open space for it. The selfie of us will sit here measuring 4¼ by 3, and I'm planning to add a column of 3×3 photos of my youngest son, Evan, down the right side of the left page. Below the selfie, I'll place 3×4 photos. I'm going to cut down my papers and I'll be right back. I want to mat my photos with double mats. There's a lot of green in my pictures, so I'll try garden green cardstock as one of the matte colors. This is one of the coordinating colors in this collection. Let me give it a try. It's okay, but I think we can do better. Since I used black in my Christmas decorations this year, I'm going to try black cardstock as a matte instead. Yeah, I love the way this looks. It really makes the photos pop. I'll add black mats to the 3 photos on the left side of the page as well. What a difference that makes. I'm really liking this. I'm thinking I want to bring a bit more black, so I'm considering adding a 1/4 inch strip here, but wait, I have a better idea. I'll use a 1/2 inch strip of black on either side of the layout, and then a 1/4 inch strip of red glimmer paper right in the middle of the black. I'm loving how this looks. It definitely adds that merry and bright feel to this layout. As a boy mom, I have to take any excuse to use glitter paper. But what better reason than Christmas, right? This selfie picture looks a little bare. I'm going to add a black mat to it as well. Now I'm going to use my tape runner and attach the papers to the base of my layout. But before I do, I'll quickly ink the edges. This step will help the pattern paper stand out more against the white cardstock and add some extra interest to the design. Christmas 2021 was extra special as we got to spend time with family and continued many of our cherished traditions. One tradition we started when the boys were very young was opening one gift on Christmas Eve. For me, growing up, I always looked forward to opening presents after midnight mass on Christmas Eve. We would come home, Santa would have came already, we tore into our gifts, and then the next morning on Christmas Day, we would enjoy a big family breakfast all together. My husband, on the other hand, grew up opening gifts on Christmas Day morning. So as a compromise, we came up with a tradition of opening one gift on Christmas Eve to blend both of our experiences. It's become one of our favorite holiday rituals. Since Stampin' Up's new 2-tone cardstock has a white core, I didn't want that to show, so I'm also going to add some inking to the black cardstock on the edges to keep everything looking cohesive. I finished inking the edges and I have attached all my papers down and most of my photos off camera. I want to add some inking technique around my focal photo and this photo here. Now I don't have Poppy Parade ink, but I do have real red. My idea is to use my blending brush to add some red in these areas. From my stash, I found an older stamp set called Wandering Words. Yes, you're not seeing things. They are mounted on wooden blocks. Anyway, this stamp set is one of my favorites. The sentiment reads, "Happy Christmas to all and to all a good night." I thought it would look really nice stamped over the red ink blending. It would break up some of the white space, and then I have a chance to use some of my older stamps. Do you guys have a favorite stamp? You know, one of those you've had for a long time and you just can't seem to get rid of? I'll move my photos off to the side and start this treatment, working on one side of the layout at a time. I'm going to start on the left-hand side first. I'll mask off my photos with some scrap paper. My focal photo needs something to help it stand out, as the white mat is blending into the white background. To fix this, I'll add a black mat around this photo to create more contrast and help make it pop. Yeah, that's so much better. But first, I'll mark off where my pictures will sit with a pencil. This helps me know where to start blending. Next, I'll place my silicone mat around my starting point. This gives me a clean area to ink off of, and also serves as a great place to start blending upwards. Be sure to use a light hand. I'm using circular motions to gently blend the ink around the area I want to cover. As you can see, I did speed up this process quite a bit. But now I'm bringing back my picture for a quick check. It looks like it just needs a little bit more blending. So I'm not sure what I just did, but now there's ink on my picture and my finger. Oh, whoops. I'm gonna go wash my hands and then I'll move on to the other side of the layout. Looking at the right side, I'll mask off the area I want to keep clean. Then I'll place my picture back down and mark my starting point with a pencil. From there, I'll repeat the same blending process until I've achieved the desired effect. I want to blend out fairly far to the right, covering a larger area. I'll finish the rest off camera and come back to show you the final result. One of the things I love about working with the Stampin' Up! Silicone craft sheet is how easy it is to clean. A damp cloth or a baby wipe does the trick. It keeps your workspace neat and tidy. Although it is safe to say your fingers may not stay quite as clean. Here is the final result of the ink blending. It may look a bit scary at this moment, but I assure you once the title is in place and I have stamped above the focal photo, it'll all come together nicely. I'm going to stamp directly onto my layout. I'll place a foam mat underneath the area I'm stamping on to create a nice even surface. I'm using my black ink, and instead of pressing the stamp into the ink pad, I'll place the ink pad onto the stamp. I find this method works better, especially with larger stamps like this one, because it gives me more control. Before I stamp onto my layout, I'll do a practice image on a scrap piece of paper to make sure everything looks good. Okay, it's perfect. Now, I'm going to ink up the stamp one more time, line it up exactly where I want it. This is one of the reasons why I love using clear polymer stamps. They make it so much easier to see exactly where I'm stamping instead of this wooden block. I'm just going to have to trust my instincts here. Okay, let's hope for the best. I'll give it a moment to soak in and, oh, looks great. Now it's time to clean up this area before we move on to the title and embellishments. I'll bring the right side into view and focus on my title area. This felt like the most natural spot for my title to sit on the layout. The red ink blending created the perfect backdrop for it. I had the idea of using the Santa Squad logo from the pajama shirts as the title. So I searched for similar font and used the print then cut feature in Design Space to create the title. Now I'm going to extend the ink blending a little further here. I'm not re-inking the brush, I'm just using whatever ink is still left on it from before. This looks much better. Now I'll ink the edges of the title to help it stand out a bit. Back to the pictures. The gift the boys always open on Christmas Eve is a pair of new pajamas. When they were younger, it also included a Christmas book. As they got older, we started switching the book out for a movie. Over the years, the movies eventually stopped, and the pajamas evolved from cute festive designs to more plaid patterns and even sometimes sweatpants. But even though the style has changed, the tradition has continued. I'd like to add some dimension to the title. So I went back to the Cricut and cut out a few of the offset layers for the words and the Santa hat. To attach the layers together, I'll use my Tombow liquid glue. Liquid glue is a better choice for this because it gives an extra little time to adjust layers before the glue sets. whereas Tape Runner doesn't offer that same flexibility. So this year, I thought it would be fun to put a Christmas Eve gift under the tree for all of us. Matching pajama tops for everyone. They all said Santa Squad 2021 printed on them. The boys humored me, put them on, and even posed for a selfie. It's the small things, right? Does anybody else have this kind of tradition? I would love to hear about it. Please leave me a comment below. I would also love it if you took this time to give this video a thumbs up or consider subscribing to my channel. Let's get the title back into place and see how it looks. While I was going through my Christmas inventory, I came across this sticker sheet from Cardstock. The buffalo check stocking on it is perfect. The stickers have a farmhouse theme which matches the style I used to decorate my house that year. I'm definitely going to use the tree sticker here, and I'll pull out a few more from the sheet. To ensure they won't be too sticky, I'll remove the adhesive from the back of them using my anti-static remover pouch. One of the sticker reads, "May you never be too grown up to search the skies on Christmas Eve." I really like that. I'll pull that one aside as well, but I think I have enough for now. I also made a few poinsettias using the poinsettia petal stamp and die set from my stash. This set is long retired, unfortunately, so there's no current version available with poinsettias. However, if you're following along, this is the perfect time to pull out something from your own personal stash. I used the coordinating dies to cut and emboss the petals at the same time, using Poppy Parade cardstock. To add a little extra interest to the petals, I ran a black marker along the edges of the cardstock like this. It really helps the flowers stand out. I also used the same technique on the holly leaves. It's a small amount of work that gives such a big impact. I did zoom the camera in a little bit here, so hopefully you get a good view of what I'm doing. Here's what the final result looks like. For this last flower, I will place a small amount of Barely Art glue in the middle of the flower and attach the petal layers together. In the center of my flowers, I used Crystal Effects to add a bit of shine and dimension. I'm going to start working on my first embellishment cluster in this corner next to the title. I really like how this tree fills in the space, but I'm going to place this poinsettia here to cover the wooden box the tree is sitting in. I'm not looking to incorporate any wood elements into this design. I'm liking how this is coming together, and I'm just going to try out and audition different elements around each one of my clusters here. Right now, nothing is really standing out on top of the holly pattern paper. So to help my embellishments pop more, I'm thinking of using one of my circle die cuts as a backdrop for the elements. I also came across some large ornament die cuts in my stash, which could work. They even have toppers I can cut out to finish them off. I'm debating between black or white, so I went ahead and cut out a circle in each color, plus a white ornament. This ornament was already cut from shimmery paper. I'm not sure if the shimmer shows up on camera though. I'll try each options to see which one looks best. The black circle isn't quite right. It blends in too much with the photo mats. I'll try the white circle. I like that one. It helps balance out the white from the title. The ornaments are nice, but I think I prefer the wider one if I was going to use an ornament. Let's see how it looks. Now I'll test the circle again. I think that's the winner. I really like the buffalo check on this sticker here. It adds some height to the space. It brings in similar greenery to what's in the tree from my first cluster, helping to repeat the same elements in the design. Now I'm looking for word sentiments to incorporate in this area. I found this stamp that reads, "Remember these moments." which works perfectly. I stamped the sentiment on white cardstock using garden green and black ink. I'll quickly fussy cut the sentiment, leaving just a small border of white around the stamp image. Even though I sped up this process quite a bit, it only took me several minutes to cut this all out. I'll clean up my workspace and then try both of my options in my cluster. First green, then black, but I definitely prefer the black one. It stands out more. I'm going to leave this page as is and start moving on to the left-hand side of my layout to build my third cluster. I think the best spot for this is in the corner of my focal photo up here. I'm going to introduce a third poinsettia here, along with some holly leaves. I also found a red tag on the sticker sheet, which will work perfectly. I cut out a small circle in garden green cardstock and stamped December 25th on it using a stamp from the Close to My Heart sets. I'm also thinking I want to incorporate a bit more black into my clusters. So I pulled out the die from the Changing Leaves stamp and die set. The die cut is a small sprig or branch, and I think it will add some nice interest to the clusters. I cut 3 of them, one for each cluster. I used the same font to cut out a year using the print then cut option in the Cricut design space. I'll try placing that within this cluster, but I'm not sure if this is where it's going to stay. I think my flowers need some glitter. After all, it is Christmas, right? Let's clear this away and use my Wink of Stella brush and brush some glitter on. I'm placing it along the veining on each petal. Oh, so pretty. And another way to make this layout a little bit merry and bright. Look at that shimmer. I'll complete the other 2 flowers and leaves off camera. My embellishment clusters are all in place, and I've written out my journaling. While I was printing the journaling, I remembered I wanted to use the Family Traditions stamp on this layout because that's exactly what this layout is about. I thought the best place for the sentiment would be above the photo of all of us in our matching PJs. However, I'm not sure if it'll actually show up that well if I stamp it directly onto this pattern paper. I've auditioned a few shapes here that I've cut out of garden green cardstock, but at the end of the day, I think I like the tag the best. And to fill in the space a little bit more, I'll cut a smaller tag from the holly pattern paper. I'll need my spatula again to lift the adhesive from behind this photo and slide the tag in place. There we go. This looks great. I'll stamp the sentiment off camera and be right back. I did add a little bit of black ink to the edges of my tags, and I found a black and white plaid ribbon in my stash to add to the smaller one. I put a black matte dot from Stampin' Up on the larger tag, and now I'm going around and placing little black sequins around all of the clusters. I really like how this layout turned out. The mix of black and white helps keep the design bright and fresh, while the pops of red and green bring a festive, merry and bright feel. The combination of colors, along with the added dimension from the poinsettia and the tags, ties everything together and fills the layout with a joyful holiday spirit. Here is a closer look at my embellishment clusters. As you can see, I have moved the 2021 to another cluster, and I did add some stockings and a coffee mug to others. I hope you found inspiration in this layout, and please stay tuned for more layouts using this paper collection. If you missed my previous video, you can check that one out right here. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It helps me out a lot on YouTube. And please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, happy crafting, everybody.